Saw has a John Kramer problem. Tobin Bell is electrifying in the role, and the series had an odd uphill battle after killing off Jigsaw. The fourth movie had to be set simultaneous to 3 to draw people in, and 5 to 7 slowly dropped off in popularity as they shifted to Hoffman as their core, and even then they had to constantly find flashbacks to shove John into, like the Limp Bizkit one. Jigsaw took us way back to before the first movie in a convoluted way where the guy who didn't die became a Jigsaw apprentice, and John didn't tell anybody about this, and no one knew, and he did a thing, and then he stayed in hiding for like 20 years or whatever. But also John was there too, and Spiral's just a standalone police thriller with some very light Saw elements for marketability. After Spiral, I really didn't know what to expect. Where do you go? Spiral 2? Do another Spiral? More Jigsaw with the boring apprentice guy? A new apprentice? You could just make a new one, more flashbacks? How about a midquel? Jam between the first and second in some vague time period, also that John Kramer can be alive again. I mean, I guess there was some real estate there to fill in, so surely it's just more of the same. We get a set of new meats, they get mulched. Wait, what? John is the good guy? It's a vacation episode like Mr. Bean's Holiday, where Jigsaw takes on Mexico? All his speeches are highlighted by triumphant music? Well, I guess the franchise has always been weird. Let's see how it shakes out. Saw X was directed by Kevin Greathart, the director of 6 and 7, but also the editor of the first 5 and Jigsaw. So to say the least, he's probably the man who's had the most influence on the series. The how and why of Saw X's existence and bizarre concept are a bit of a mystery. It just came into existence, and here we are. Saw X begins with John Kramer hearing about an experimental cancer treatment that he can get in Mexico from some guy at a coffee truck who's in like his cancer support group. After viewing a very sketchy website, he goes for it, and of course, it's a con. So he kidnaps the evil white woman and her Mexican lackeys and does the thing. That's about all you need to know. You can kind of figure it out from there. The framing in this movie is fucking bizarre. Genuinely strange. It's about the oddest thing you could do. Saw X is a revenge film like Death Wish, where our hero triumphantly puts people in elaborate torture traps and watches them die. The music frames it this way, Jigsaw being the point of view character frames it this way, and yeah, he's fucking with some pretty evil people this time, but it stands in stark contrast to his presentation in the other movies. Saw 3 is Jigsaw's big rumination about forgiveness and revenge. The main character in that movie meets his ultimate fate by seeking revenge, and his lesson is supposed to be forgiving those who have wronged him. In the first movie, he's an ominous mystery. We don't know much about him, but we understand his threat. And in the second, he toys with a child to get petty revenge on a police officer. This movie has a lot of build-up. The early trap, the weird eye one on the poster, is a dream sequence that I'd guess was a last-minute ad as an appetizer for all the build-up, although it is a fun trap. Much of the first half hour is Jigsaw's mostly pleasant vacation. The doctor woman is kind of attentive, the housekeeper seems sweet, but when it comes crashing down, it shifts into full Saw mode. Only a few traps, but it's pretty all in on those. Putting Jigsaw as the point of view character is kind of just insanity. A woman cuts off her legs to suck out enough marrow to keep herself from decapitation, but she was 2 seconds too slow. Whoopsie. Our protagonist says, damn, guess she didn't want to live. It's a bafflingly bad idea, and holy shit is it fun for it. It really enables the people in the trap, specifically the main villain, to be horrible and gleefully evil to justify it. The evil white woman kills the least evil character, the housekeeper, who survived her trap before for no reason at all. And at that point, I guess you're just supposed to be ready to see Jigsaw come out on top. Even more so when she ropes in this little boy that Jigsaw befriended and helped him fix a bike or something. She puts them both in this ridiculous drowning trap where they have to take turns getting drowned. And I'm not really sure if the little boy getting involved was always part of Jigsaw's plan, or if it was meant to be him and Amanda, because I think him getting put in the trap was part of the plan, because he has like an escape method through some convoluted way and a backup trap. I'm going to assume the little boy wasn't part of the plan, but then John Kramer gives him all the money he got back once he took all his money back that he was going to use for cancer treatment, so I don't really know. I guess like the point of it is that John Kramer gets a small opportunity to seemingly be on the back foot, since in the series he's kind of always basically like omniscient, where he just knows everything everyone's gonna do and has unlimited predictive ability. The evil woman's boyfriend comes in and complicates the situation, which further endears you to rooting for the deranged serial killer to chop her head off. It's weird that Mexico doesn't factor into this as much as you would think. Like, the fact that it's Jigsaw in Mexico is relevant for the first, 20 minutes when he has to go to Mexico and he's, driving around Mexico, but then he's just at some mansion in the basement. And then he's just in another warehouse, so I don't know. The only time that it ever factors in after that is that there's an Aztec death mask trap where, the guy has to do brain surgery on himself, and if he fails, he gets his face burnt off in an Aztec death mask. But that is kind of fun. I think the brain surgery part of it is fun. Him getting his face stuck in a big statue is just kind of weird. They wanted to do something that was Mexico themed and didn't have any good ideas. But I guess the point is that it really could have just been any factory. It didn't have to be a factory in Mexico. This could have just happened in America. I guess you can just get away with illegal surgery easier in Mexico. Traps in this one are generally fun. There probably should have been a few more, especially because the first half hour gets a little dry after the imaginary eye one. And they're all kind of... There's not a lot of pacing to them. Before the big trap fest starts, he sews some pipe bombs into the taxi driver's skin, and that one's pretty fun. And then there's another kind of break for exposition, and then all the rest of the movie, once you hit the hour mark, the last half hour is just nothing but traps. They are fun. The surgery related stuff is real gnarly and unpleasant, as surgery is in real life, and of course ties into the story a little bit thematically. Things being gnarly and unpleasant is basically the standard for the Saw franchise. The brain surgery one is immensely upsetting, as is the leg thing, although the one where she's hanging from chains and has to hit herself with a hammer to fall out of the chains to not get killed by the weird giant fire machine thing is kind of weird. A little less exciting than the other two. The twist ending where the villain and her boyfriend are forced to fight to the death is pretty fun. I like that they're in the neurotoxin place and there's a head hole and she's stuck looking at John Kramer escape. I think that's all very fun and silly, and of course it ties into the Jigsaw got put into a two-person trap but they both survived, and the woman has to kill the man thing. It's thematic. It's like poetry. It rhymes. I'm still a bit unclear on where the plan ends and where the plan begins. Was it always his intention that she was put in the weird gas room and then they had to fight to the death with a knife to put their head in a hole? Like I said, he's basically omniscient, so I guess he just knew that all this would go down and that they would set off the weird gas trap that makes their skin all bubbly and gross but doesn't kill them despite that. A couple other things to note. Both John Kramer and Amanda have aged 20 years since the first movie. Amanda especially, it's noticeable on. John Kramer was always kind of made up to look even older than he was, and he already looked pretty old. So the difference in his age, especially for a character that has cancer, is way less noticeable than Amanda, who was 20 and is now 40. I appreciate the director said that they intentionally didn't want to do CGI or de-aging CGI or makeup in order to maintain the performances and not fall in the uncanny valley, so that's respectable. It's a little bit distracting at first, but kind of like everything in Saw, they're yeah, it's goofy and weird, but just go with it. We're playing along, we're getting more Jigsaw. That's what we all came for. My favorite part of the movie are both of the endings. The movie's proper ending is absolutely hilarious. Jigsaw, Amanda, and the kid walk out into this cheesy heavenly glow holding hands to triumphant music after they killed 5 people for scamming them. It's not a punishment that fits the crime that the woman had to saw her own leg off and then got decapitated when she was just a fake doctor who stood there, you know? But as far as the movie's concerned, all's well that ends well. Jigsaw, Amanda, and the kid go to heaven. Not really, because this is a midquel, but it almost frames it like they were the ones being tortured by a deranged serial killer and they escaped. It's so weird. It's such a weird movie. The post-credits scene had me weeping in the theater.
I call that epic bad luck.
I love Hoffman and the movies that are centered on him, so seeing Hoffman again had me so hyped, but his line, "That's epic bad luck," is so bad. It's so so bad. It's just horrendous. The line read is bad. The line itself is bad. It's really fucking funny that he says that's epic bad luck, and then the screen just starts doing this demented spin like a fucking like goddamn 1960s Batman. I loved that part. I think more Hoffman. When we get Saw 11, I hope Hoffman's in it in every scene. I don't care if he also looks 20 years older and now he's like 20 years older and 40 pounds heavier, but more Hoffman, absolutely more Jigsaw. I don't know what to expect from Saw 11. I could not imagine where you could put another Saw movie that presumably comes between some of the other ones. But fucking honestly, I'm all here for it, especially if it's a Hoffman Jigsaw team up from before Jigsaw was dead and Hoffman was solo. It's really all I want. I'm very excited for Saw 11. My thoughts on this movie are surprisingly disorganized. It is a movie I am not really sure what to make of, to be honest. It's very weird. I have a lot of fun with it, whether it's intentionally campy and bizarre or not. The reframing of the franchise to make Jigsaw the hero of the story is a bizarre and probably misguided one. It's really hard to take seriously, hilarious, and also kind of genius. It's a very fresh take on the series, to say the least. Unique. There really isn't anything else like this. There's no Friday the 13th movie where Jason is a superhero mowing down villainous CEOs because it'd be fucking weird. And it is. It really is such a weird movie. The triumphant music just tears my sides apart whenever Jigsaw starts speaking. It's genuinely fun, especially if you're a fan of the franchise. It is such an odd take on the franchise, and there's plenty of the practical gore and stuff that, you know, the franchise is kind of known for. It's a little bit trap light, especially in the first half, but it gets very gory and visceral when it actually does start to go down anyway. And the premise is so unforgettably silly that I kind of fell in love with it. I hope we see this crazy energy in the next one, and I really look forward to it. Also, happy Halloween. Should have a short thing about Halloween Ends real soon, and a bigger one on the Purge series on Halloween, I hope. Fingers crossed. Please don't Texas Chainsaw me.